To me now.
Hi, Lorna.
So a lot of French papers today focusing on a story that's rocking the world of football. Tell us more.
Well, that's right. This is the biggest match-fixing scandal to hit Europe, and this comes as Europol, so the European Union's law enforcement agency, has revealed the findings of a 19-month investigation, and it found that about 380 matches in Europe had been fixed, including a Champions League match. So Libération, a left-leaning paper, takes a closer look. Football, how do you actually fix a match? And according to Europol, some 425 match officials, club officials, players, referees, and criminals were involved in this criminal ring that spread pretty much across the world, but was based in Asia. In their editorial, Libération points out that this is really bad for the image of high-level sports, which has already been tarnished by doping scandals that we've been hearing a lot about. Libération points out that betting is a very good way to launder money, and there's almost total impunity because so far in Europe, there's no common rules that concern illegal betting. According to Libération, what Europol is trying to do here is sound the alarm and make sure that governments and sporting authorities make sure that this changes.
Okay, well, the Huffington Post, meanwhile, is taking a closer look at that scandal and how matches do actually get fixed.
That's right. The Huffington Post has kind of an instructions manual as what you need to do to fix a match. Now, what you need is you need a lot of money, first of all, so that you can place the bet and also so that you can pay people off. You also need a good middleman to be able to convince players to fix the game. And usually that's a retired player, and it's useful if you know their weakness to be able to convince them. You also need to be very careful when you target the players that you're going to corrupt. And the Huffington Post says, ideally what you'll do is you'll be able to corrupt someone on the defense, someone, a striker, and especially the goalie. He's the key player.
Yes.
Now, if you should get the referee on your side, but the Huffington Post says that's tricky. And the most important thing, though, is where and when you decide to place your bet. You have to spread things out, according to the Huffington Post, so you don't attract too much attention. But once you've got all those things, you're set and you can fix away.
Wow, I feel really prepared. Thank you, Huffington Post. Moving on to another story now. The gay marriage debate is still raging on, of course, here in France.
That's right. Rue 89 takes a look 1 week after this debate started in Parliament. Now, what have members of Parliament actually achieved? Well, Rue 89 says not that much, and they say that this is actually quite troubling. According to Rue 89, not that much has changed from the original text of the bill that the socialist government put forward, just a couple of amendments. So basically all the debates and the fiery, zingers that we've been hearing, all that has pretty much just been theater, according to Rue 89. Now, the right has been very vocal about the fact that they're very much opposed to this gay marriage bill, but not everybody on the right agrees with that. And Libération has an interview with Nathalie Kosciusko-Morizet. She was a minister under Nicolas Sarkozy's government, and she's seen as being the leading contender for the right in the run to become mayor of Paris when that race starts. Now, she says she's not going to vote. She's not going to vote for the amendment, and she says that she's going to abstain, but in a very active way. It's not that she's not making up her mind, but it's just that she doesn't agree with the bill. First of all, she's for having marriage be available to homosexuals, but what she's against is what she calls things that the government has polluted the debate with, and that is a medically assisted procreation and opening up surrogacy to homosexuals. She's very much against that, so that's why she's going to abstain from voting.
Okay, well, that debate will rage on for a little while longer, I think, but finally, Libération is taking a trip down memory lane.
That's right. Libération has its very first edition today. Now, that was on Monday, February 5th, 1973, and here you can see a facsimile that you can get in Libération today. Now, Libération on this first edition has kind of a manifesto trying to explain just what is their driving force, and they say that it's freedom of the press, independence, and that's why their very first edition was only 4 pages. They said that it was somewhat of a teaser to get readers interested so they would invest in the paper, and so that Libération wouldn't be dependent on banks or pressure groups, but it would be free and independent, so you can get a copy there today.
Great. That comes with today's edition of Libération. Thank you very much indeed, Florence, for that look at today's French newspapers. Well, still to come here on Live from Paris, the big